There are well over 30 million small businesses in the United States, and according to the Small Business Administration Office of Advocacy and Overload.com, small businesses account for 1.5 million new jobs annually, and they account for about 64% of total new job growth year in and year out in America, providing further evidence that small businesses are the backbone of this economy. For more than 2 decades now, Jill Wilk has been focused on one singular mission: supporting client achievement through the implementation of training and performance strategies for small and medium-sized businesses. With a focus on leadership development, she partners with businesses in diverse industries. She took some time out of her busy California schedule this week to join me to shed some light on how she's providing leadership, direction, and clarity for businesses everywhere. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. I started my conversation with Wilk by asking her to provide a bird's eye view of all the good work that she does in helping her clients succeed.
Yes, well, in what I do, I help with leadership development and career development of my clients. And in doing that, I help them to set their own path and really help them to set their roadmap. And then once we've been able to help them set their roadmap, then they're able to work through the different steps of attaining where they want to go and what they want to do. And I find that when people are able to define their own roadmap and determine what things might get in the way and what their own success looks like, they're more committed to it and they're able to achieve it a great deal better than if somebody tells them what to do.
Absolutely. And based on your experience, Jill, I'm curious to get your thoughts on what you think makes a good business leader.
Yeah, that's such a great question. I don't know if you're familiar with the with Gumby. With the a long time ago, there used to be Gumby and Pokey, and Gumby was this green character, and he was firm, but he was flexible. And I think flexibility in a leader is really important, and it's often overlooked, of the idea that yes, you are firm in what your commitment is to value in an organization, but you're flexible, and you're flexible with your workforce, you're flexible with your community. And the other is what I call being a really intentional listener. And, we're all familiar with that term, being an active listener. Um, that's great when we are listening more than we're talking, and when we're not thinking of what we're going to say when somebody is talking. But being an intentional listener is really listening for the things that are not said, and then asking the questions in order to bring that out. Because usually that's what's more important than what is said.
Absolutely. And I know that you have a lifetime of personal experience, which helps your clients with personal growth, job development, and their career transition. So I'm wondering how you mold all of your own personal life experiences to help your clients as well.
Yeah, I think probably my experience has been in the HR world. I've been in human resources for about 25 years. And then I moved that over to coaching. And so coaching to me brings the most gratification in what I do. And I really enjoy using that to help my clients find out specifically what they want, just like I was able to do, and what they want in their own professional growth and what they want in their job advancement. And you really hit the mark on career transition, because I think all of us in some way, we are all in a transition right now. And I think being able to map out what that transition looks like and what gets in the way and how to overcome that, and determining what the resources we have available to us is really key.
Absolutely. And as you noted, that most people in the working world are in some sort of a transition because of the pandemic. Even if you're in a steady job, the pandemic has sort of changed our way of thinking about human resources. And I'm curious, with your background in human resources, Jill, I'm curious to ask you, how do you think human resources departments have to look at job applicants differently because of the pandemic, knowing that people are sort of reinvesting into the working world after the pandemic?
I really love that question. And I think, again, you hit the nail on the head that human resources departments do need to evolve, and they do need to accommodate what's going on in the workforce, and realize that what they were doing before and the measures they were using, maybe that's the square peg in the round hole right now. And again, it's the same formula that I subscribe to for leadership. They can be firm in what they're looking for, but they should be flexible in their candidate pool. And I think what HR departments need to do, and if I were still in that role, I would follow my own advice and look for a fit of culture. So looking beyond what the criteria are for the requirements of the job and how much experience someone has, but also looking into how they fit within the culture. And I think that that is really more important now than ever, is to determine, do you fit with the values of the organization? Does the candidate that you're looking at, do they subscribe to the same values that you do? And really being able to look and to ask those questions during interviews as well.
And I'm going to spin it the opposite way, Joe. How do you think a job seekers can become more appealing to those in the positions of hire to power to hire?
I think that people, at Sound Advice, we talk a lot about the sniper approach as opposed to shotgun, and meaning really focused, a really focused job search, rather than, as I like to say, throwing pasta at the wall and seeing what sticks. So really more of making sure that you really know what it is you're passionate about and what you want to do specifically, and identifying those companies that fit with what you're looking for, because we find that the people we work with, they have the most success when they do that, rather than just hitting the apply button, which is really easy to do. And then the other has to do with the applicant tracking system of making sure they're doing a really thorough job of doing those keyword search matches to make sure that what the company is asking for, you have appearing on your resume.
It always helps to read job descriptions, doesn't it?
Yes, it sure does. Exactly. Look before you leap.
And apply, absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
Jill, I don't know if you had a chance to dive into my background, but I do a lot of work with individuals with disabilities when it comes to inclusive employment. And I'm curious, you talked earlier about culture, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on infusing more people with disabilities into a work culture, because I think some employers are really missing out on an untapped market by not considering people with disabilities, and I'm wondering your thoughts on that as well.
You know, I have to tell you, you hit upon a very strong passion point for me when you said that, because when I think of a diverse workforce, diverse means diverse, and that means I am extremely passionate about helping people be employed, people with disabilities, because you are 100% correct. Employers are missing out on a key portion of the workforce. I also believe the same goes with people who are older in the workforce. And so I think that definitely makes up, when we say diversity at work, that is part of diversity. And so I'm very passionate about this. And I think that it's really important that employers look for solutions and not look at any of disabilities as a problem. It's a solution. And asking the people who are in whatever the disability may be, ask them for what they believe the solution is, and do not assume. And I think looking at diversity of whether it's people with disabilities, people who are older, asking them what they think would be the best solution, and collaborating and looking at it more as a collaborative culture rather than anything else. And so I am a very strong advocate for this. And I actually do more. When I was a recruiter, I did more in this area and had the highest retention rate for people that I hired who either had a disability, no matter what that was, or people who were older coming back into the workforce. And I just would say for any employer to be collaborative.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious to get you to comment on, how do you think the working world and the workforce will change as a result of the pandemic? What do you think we can do differently, and what do you think we've learned as an employment world?
Well, I think we are learning to do things differently, and I think that's really important. I think in many cases, we maybe became too complacent with what was working. And I think this has caused us all to think outside the box. And I think that's a great thing. And I think if this has taught us anything, it's to continually be a continuous learner of what is out there, what's coming our way, and what more collaborative solutions can be, as opposed to the way we've always done things. Because I think we can agree that how we've always done things has not always been the right thing. And so looking at different ways, and again, being collaborative and flexible and intentional.
Jill, I'm also curious to ask you about your own personal legacy. You know, when you retire, and if someone was to write the book of your life, what do you think you would want them to focus on?
Oh gosh, what a great question. Well, I think if I were to say what I'd want people to remember about me is that I am collaborative, and that uh, I give more than I take. I think that's really an important factor, and to really be compassionate. I think those are my three takeaways of the way I live my life, and the way that I like for my kids to see me living my life. I like to model good behavior, and really walk the walk.
And I'm curious, when you're not working, what do you enjoy doing for fun?
Oh gosh. Well, if there is time to do that, which I try to, I try my best to make time for that. I love to work out. I love to make sure that I'm taking care of myself. I am a very avid volunteer in the community, and I am a very strong advocate for animals. I have two rescue animals, and I'm very passionate about helping animals that maybe cannot help themselves, and people as well. So I think those are my top three. And when we can all go back to the movies, I love the movies, and I love going out to eat. So those, hence the workout. So so that's what I do for fun.
Yeah, Jill, I think you're just like everybody else, wanting a little sense of normalcy back in our lives, right?
Normalcy is okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And my final question for you, Jill, is if people want to get connected with you, what's the best way they can do that?
Wonderful. Well, my website, Sound Advice Women, is the best place to get a hold of what we do. My email, jill@soundadvicewomen.com, is another great way to get a hold of me. And that's how we can get connected.
Well, Jill, I want to thank you for your time this afternoon, your work in women and workplace equality. Really enjoyed our conversation this afternoon, and I want to thank you for being here. It's most appreciated.
Well, thank you so much. And again, thank you for having me. And I'm wishing you all the best in everything that you're doing.